This is the story of a young boy and an act of extraordinary defiance that changed the world. History is full of unlikely heroes, and today I want to tell you about one you might not know. Stop whatever you're doing, because this is worth your time. It all starts in the late 18th century in Lübeck, a small town in northern Germany. The Napoleonic Wars were raging, and Napoleon's forces were unstoppable. Entire nations were falling under his rule, and his armies appeared invincible. But all empires, even the greatest ones, face resistance in the most unexpected ways. Enter a 12-year-old named Joachim Luttersdorf, an ordinary boy living an extraordinary time. History books often overlook the actions of small, ordinary players. But on October 3rd, 1806, Joachim did something far from ordinary that earned him a small place in history's tapestry. Napoleon's forces had their sights set on Lübeck, intending to plunder the town. As the French army approached, people panicked and chaos ensued. But not for Joachim. Hearing the commotion, he scrambled to the hills overlooking Lübeck's gates and observed the approaching army. More specifically, he observed their grand supply wagons carrying rations and ammunition critical to Napoleon's war efforts. Now, Joachim wasn't a soldier. He didn't own armor or weapons. He wasn't trained or prepared for combat. In fact, most would argue he was too young to even think about taking action. But something remarkable happened in that moment of crisis. Joachim realized that war wasn't always about the biggest armies or the grandest strategies. Sometimes, it's about quick thinking and brave acts. So what did this 12-year-old boy do? He sprinted back home, gathered a handful of his friends, and rushed to a narrow pass through which the French supply wagons had to pass. Using just boulders, logs, maneuvering chains, and even their sheer determination, these kids built an impromptu roadblock while the French soldiers were still miles away. They worked tirelessly, reinforcing every gap to make sure those wagons couldn't pass. When Napoleon's troops arrived at the pass, they were stunned. The French army had conquered entire nations, yet they were held up by the ingenuity of a few kids. It created a bottleneck, forcing the French to reroute, delaying their plans by valuable days, which gave Lübeck's defenders crucial time to prepare. Napoleon, of course, did eventually march into Lübeck and take control. But those critical few days of delay meant that the people of Lübeck saved a portion of their resources, outlasted the crisis, and negotiated far better conditions for themselves during the occupation. Joachim and his friends didn't stop the war entirely, but their ingenuity showed how small, courageous acts could nudge history in powerful directions. It's not always about the swords, cannons, or army sizes. Sometimes, it's about the will to act when others stand still. Today, the story of Joachim Luttersdorf is a reminder of the power of the human spirit. Even the smallest among us can leave a ripple on the ocean of history. When you think the odds are impossible, think about young Joachim and what is possible. So, what do you think of this incredible story? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to share this with someone who inspires you. Remember, history is often shaped by the bravery of those you'd least expect. That's it for today's episode of Fascinating History. See you next time.